So, we would love to hear your feedback on this, but I have an opinion on Christmas music, and Michael Drummond has an opinion on Christmas music. Here's my opinion. No effing Christmas music in your Uber. Because guess what? I have to hear that shit at Starbucks. I have to hear that shit at the grocery store. I have to hear that shit at home with my girlfriend. You probably have to hear that shit in the office. And by this time, you are so tired of Christmas music that you could freaking strangle somebody. I say no to Christmas music right now. Unless they ask for it. And then be like, all right, we can do some Christmas music. But guess what? They're not going to ask for it because nobody wants to hear that shit.
Nobody's going to ask for Christmas music, but if you put it on in the background and literally make it background music, just loud enough for them to hear, that a little tone of it might strike a chord in them, that next thing you know, they start singing along, then you can kind of turn it up a little bit, and that's fine. I'm not saying get them in the car and turn that stuff up to where it's like, hey, don't you like this Michael Bublé version of Sleigh Ride? No, I'm saying you kind of put it on in the background, you keep it low, and that's what you do. Now, early in the day when the lights are on, when people can see and you can still see to the back of your car, and that's okay. And early in the evening, if you're taking a couple to dinner, that's fine. But when you start getting the kids from the bars, the Christmas music is over. They're not gonna be wanting to rock out to Christmas music. So, I'm just saying, I keep Christmas music going during the daytime, and when I have older people or whatever. And if you get old people, they don't
want to
mind.
hear it for sure.
No,
they've
don't
heard
mind.
it in their office all week.
Especially when you're playing Bing Crosby for them, because they're like, "Oh, listen, this child knows good music."
I hear jingle bells in the background from your dog right now.
Yeah, Daisy has a reindeer bell on her. So
I keep hearing that.
I have 3 kids. We listen to Christmas music all day long.
Kids and adults are a little different.
A station here in town started playing Christmas music November 1st, and they'll play it through December 31st.
That's why people are burnt out now. They've had a month.
But we didn't start it until just right before Thanksgiving. So at our house, we're gonna rock Christmas music until.
And you should do that at your house. Just don't do it in your damn Uber.
I have had no complaints yet. And the only thing about it is, if I get somebody younger in my car early in the day, I go, hey, if you don't would you like to listen to some Christmas music? I usually keep it on. Oh, please. And I had a guy the other night tell me, yeah, please turn off the Christmas music. I'm not ready for Christmas music. And that's cool.
And I'm one-starring you regardless because I had to
No. I say, well, here's the aux cord. Play whatever you'd like, man, and I'll turn it up for you.
Right. And let me guess, it was probably just one guy, right?
It was just one guy by himself.
Right. See? Now, you could have saved all of this conversation. Just had a little of the Eagles in the background.
This kid's not old enough for the Eagles.
All these kids are old enough.
No, they're not.
They all know Hotel California.
These 21-year-old...
They know it. They love it. I'm telling you.
Hotel California is just... I hate the Eagles. I personally hate most of the music on your list that you put on your thing.
People love that music.
But,
especially 21-year-olds.
Here's the reason why. Because my whole life growing up, that's all my dad listened to, and I was not going to be a party to anything that my dad enjoyed. Now, I like Buck Cherry and play that funky music, White Boy, and stuff like that. But, that's like one of the only songs.
Tom Petty. People see... That's the most probably sang to song in my car. That's sing-along music.
No.
We're not dealing with your coffee house collections. Maybe you're Lars. Maybe I need to hit you with a little jazz flute or something.
Ooh, jazz flute. Jazz flute.
Yeah, maybe hit you with that. I don't even know what that shit is.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Like. But you can put jazz on in the background, and people don't mind that either. Because sometimes...
I would slit my throat.
Some people, they typically don't care what's on. Because I ask them, hey, do y'all want to listen to anything in particular? Because I'll put the radio station oh, no, whatever's on is fine. I just turn it down.
Take the choice out of their hand.
I know, but exactly. So I just put something on it and I keep it low. Right. Unless they ask for something to come up, that's the only way it's so low it's barely audible, but it's there. Okay?
What you want is you want them to get in the back seat. They're not really having a conversation, and then they catch it. And then the toe starts going. And next thing you know... They're free.
And they're singing.
Free.
And they're singing, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell.
They're not singing that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They're not.
I had people the other night do it. I drove them out to the casino. There were 4 of them. They're all cowboys. 2 guys in big freaking hats and 2 chicks with belt buckles the size of your head. Okay? I barely had the Christmas music on, and next thing you know, I hear this chick in the back going with Celine Dion, going for that high note in Oh Holy Night. I'm not kidding. It was barely on, and they're all like, yeah, you sing it, girl, you sing it. And I kid you not, they wanted to listen. They like the Christmas music. It's a 50-50 thing. They're either going to like it or they're going to hate it. But as long as you're not shoving it down their throat, like cranking it up or keeping it in normal listening volume, they're not going to say anything about it.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this.
Fine, agree to disagree. But it's the time of year. We are, we're literally like 8 days away from Star Wars. So I might start listening to Star Wars themed songs pretty soon.
Fuck my life. You're never going to be a select driver, Drummond. Because there's a large people that like it, and then there's the people you either love it or hate it. And that's the shit you have to avoid in Uber.
That's right.
You can't do those things that half like, half love.
Here's the deal. On the day, on the Friday that Star Wars is released, I'm dressing as a Stormtrooper. Because I'm going to be in the Stormtrooper Suburban with the Stormtrooper costume on. That's it. That's how it's going to be.
Man.
So anyway, Christmas music rocks. Thank you.
But to tie up the whole Christmas music thing is the big thing about driving for Uber or Lyft is learning to read social cues. Yep. So, people are like, why does my rating suck? That's why.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just started thinking about you. My apologies. You want me to phrase that differently?
Yeah, I'd appreciate if you could phrase that differently. And I read social cues very well. Thank you very much.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right, let's start over.
Oh, I was just going to go with that, but okay.
No. But no, to put a nice little bow on the whole Christmas music argument, I think the biggest thing that drivers can help themselves with, especially if you're kind of curious about why maybe your rating's not where you want it to be, social cues. So many people can't get it. Maybe this person wants to talk. This person doesn't. This person wants music. This person doesn't. You don't have to do a lot in an Uber, but you have to pay attention, and don't talk about yourself too much. Talk about them. People love to talk about themselves. Oh, yeah. And, I've never got in, an Uber and just been like, tell me all about your life, driver. No, they're going to ask you a few canned questions. How long you been driving? Do you like it? Is the pay good? The pay sucks, but I love the tips.
Yeah.
Hashtag
tip your Uber.
Hashtag tip your Uber. Good way to get the tip conversation going if you ever need to. But yeah, just learn how to read people. If they get in and they seem mad, just shut the hell up, Drop a couple questions if you just had Thanksgiving, hey, how was your Thanksgiving? Good. This guy doesn't want to talk to me.
Hey, I've got a Xanax for $20 if you want it. That's great.
Yeah, or I know a guy who can get you some stuff.
Yeah.
That's the next one. If he's ready to talk and be your friend, there you go.
I usually find that people with the social cues, they get in the car, and as soon as you get in the car and you ask them where they're going, as soon as you've asked them that and you start driving, if they want to talk to you, they're going to ask you a few questions. So how long have you been driving for Uber? What else do you do? They want to find out. Sometimes they ask questions about you. They say, and I usually tell them, they're like, do you like driving a Suburban? I'm like, well, if I didn't have 3 kids, I wouldn't drive a Suburban. So, and then they're like, oh, well, tell me about your kids.
That's why I drive a van for my kids.
Yeah. Well, and Larry lies to people all the time. So, first rule, lie to your passengers.
Social cues.
That's social cue. You got to lie to them. I don't always tell them everything about me, but, people ask questions, and you can talk to them. And if you answer their question and they don't say anything else, just shut up, and go on. Don't keep talking, kind of find that line. Otherwise, typically sometimes you get people who they don't shut up, and you just have to keep sitting there and nod your head and smile and agree with everything that they say, and even if you don't, I find it, don't take an odds with anything, even if they're bugging the crap out of you. But, sometimes people get in the back of the Uber and they'll have their iPad or their thing and they'll just sit there and do this the whole time. That's it. Just let them be. Turn up the music a little bit and let them be.
Yep.
Don't try to force a conversation, because if you try to force the conversation, that's it. If all of a sudden you're talking to them and next thing you know they change the force of conversation or the direction you're going, stop talking, because they don't want to hear anymore. And that's, those are just big things. So if you keep talking about it, don't ask them too many questions. I had a guy the other night, And he works at the Bank of Oklahoma, and it only came out because he got in my car. He liked my Subaru. He goes, "Wow, this is a really nice one." And he goes, "You must do something besides Uber." I said, "Well, yeah." I said, I used to. I said, I'm kind of in between jobs right now. He goes, hope you find something. I said, "Thank you very much." And he goes, typically my Uber drivers are really creeper, and they're asking me all these questions about myself, and they want to know. They see my house, and they're like, "Wow, it's a big fancy house. How much did that house cost? How long you lived there? What do you do for a living?"
I could never imagine asking somebody that.
People are asking those questions like, "Wow, this house is fancy," or "How much do you pay for that?" Or don't ask those questions because it's making people freak out. Like, what is going on? Why is this person asking me that question? Don't do that. It's not your business. It's not okay to say
compliment them if you like,
yeah,
but don't ask questions. Like that's like man, you have a really nice yard or something,
Or I love your Christmas lights,
Christmas lights, especially yards or Christmas lights, because people take pride in their yard.
Yeah.
They take pride in their lights.
Yeah.
Do that. Anytime you can get a chance to kiss ass a little bit.
Yeah.
Both cheeks, man.
Yeah.
Kiss up.
Yeah. See, when I started driving for Uber, we were trying to save money to buy a new house, and what ended up happening was just when my job ended, we just stopped. But there were some people I was driving one night, and I went and picked them up, and I picked them up, go, "Oh, we just looked at a house in this neighborhood," and they go, "Oh, are you gonna buy it?" And I said no. I said it was a little bit more than what we could afford. I said I'm not sure I could ever really afford. They goes, "Oh, no, you get blah blah blah," and I was like, and I didn't try to get into that conversation. Like, I know these houses are expensive, but I was just like, no. I said these are really nice, but I said it's a little bit more than what we could do, and I left it at that. But I didn't want to be like, I know how much money you're making, or I didn't want to say anything like that. And
right,
it's just, you can tell, but it's not our business to ask those questions. And I think you're going to make people feel really uncomfortable when you start asking, "What do you do?" What kind, or you say something about their car, or just be like, "Hey, that's your house is. I really love your lights, or I love your bushes. I mean, this is a really
just
nice
find something to compliment them."
Yeah, I mean, because people like it, and they're going to talk about it. They're going to say, "Oh, it's an old house. I put so much money into it. We had to have it all rewired," or blah blah blah, and that's fine, and that goes off different ways. But I mean, your biggest thing is just kind of read your people, and don't get too personal, because some people get really freaked out. And if it's a young lady, you're going to freak her out. If it's a guy, I mean, he's drunk. I mean, he's going to want to talk about how much money he's making, or blah, blah, blah. And he's going to tell you anyway. He's like, especially if he's a jerk, he's going to be like, "How much money I make?" And I'm like, "No, I don't care how much money you make. Whatever, just can you pay your Uber?" That's right. And can you tip your
fucking
Uber?
Tip.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, and I mean, at the end of you pretty much know that as soon as they get in your Uber, if they start saying how great of a tipper they are, pretty much expect that you're not going to get a damn thing too.
Yeah.
Unless
they're a 5-star, and then they're telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Like, "I'm a great tipper." I'm like, "Really? You're a 4.4, you asshole."
Yeah. Or they're a brand new Uber if they have a 5-star. They've never,
right. And then you get a chance to hand out your code.
Yeah.
Can't do your driver. You can't do your driver code once the trip has started, but you can use your passenger code.
No.
And I fully recommend anytime they're a 5-star. "Oh, how long you been using Uber?" Is it good? It's a good opening question. Like, "Oh, it's my first trip. Long time." And then you compliment them on their rating.
No.
So all signs point back to them. That's the biggest thing to remember.
Yeah. But don't ask too many questions. Just be mindful of what's going on. If there's a bunch of people in your car, they're probably going to want to talk to each other and not so much you. Don't try to join the conversation. Don't try to jump in because you hear something that you might think you know about, Just let them do their talking. If they ask you a question, that's fine. But if they're already in a conversation, don't try to jump in.